Where we go one, we go out.
So when somebody says post 9/11 that we've been at war and it's called the war on terrorism, do you generally agree with that concept?
I do, Senator, because Congress passed the authorization for use of military force, which is still in effect, and that was passed, of course, on September 14th, 2001, 3 days later.
Let's talk about the law in war. Is there a body of law called the law of armed conflict?
There is such a body, Senator.
Is there a body of law that's called basic criminal law?
Yes, Senator.
Are there differences between those two bodies of law?
Yes, Senator.
From an American citizen's point of view, do your constitutional rights follow you? If you're in Paris, does the Fourth Amendment protect you as an American from your own government?
From your own government, yes.
Okay. So if you're in Afghanistan, do your constitutional rights protect you against your own government?
If you're an American in Afghanistan, you have constitutional rights as against the U.S. government.
Is there a long-standing...
That's long-settled law.
Isn't there also a long-settled law that it goes back to the Eisentrager case? I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, Johnson versus Eisentrager.
Right. That American citizens who collaborate with the enemy have considered enemy combatants.
They can be.
They
can be. They're sometimes criminally prosecuted, sometimes treated in the military.
Well, let's talk. American citizens who collaborate with the enemy have considered enemy combatants.
They can be.
They
can be. They're sometimes criminally prosecuted, sometimes treated in the military.
Well, let's talk about can be. I think
under Supreme Court precedent.
Right. There's a Supreme Court decision that said that American citizens who collaborated with Nazi saboteurs were tried by the military. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I think a couple of them were executed.
Yeah.
So if anybody doubts, there's a long-standing history in this country that your constitutional rights follow you wherever you go, but you don't have a constitutional right to turn on your own government, collaborate with the enemy of the nation. You'll be treated differently. What's the name of the case, if you can recall, that reaffirmed the concept that you could hold one of our own as an enemy combatant if they were engaged in terrorist activities in Afghanistan? Are you familiar with that case?
Yeah, Hamdi.
Okay. So the bottom line is, I want every American citizen to know you have constitutional rights, but you do not have a constitutional right to collaborate with the enemy. There's a body of law well developed long before 9/11 that understood the difference between basic criminal law and the law of armed conflict. Do you understand those differences?
I do understand that there are different bodies of law, of course.
Now that it has been confirmed that the mass arrests of the deep state, Hollywood pedophile, and Illuminati members have already taken place, many executions, many have been tossed into Gitmo, kicking and screaming, begging for mercy. Let's take a look back to where it all began, when they all received their indictments at the George Bush funeral for all to see on camera. Extraordinary, Jesus Christ is extraordinary. Extraordinary, the love of God is extraordinary. Gave his life, paid the price. My King is Christ, extraordinary. Changed my life, made me right. Renewed my mind is extraordinary. Wow, extraordinary, Jesus Christ is extraordinary. Extraordinary, the love of God is extraordinary. Gave his life, paid the price. My King is Christ, extraordinary. Changed my life, made me right. Renewed my mind is extraordinary. You a big gun, I got a big army. Who like my God? It ain't nobody. I say nobody, I mean nobody. No weapon form, and I don't mean probably. Sometime that faith come off like cocky.
At some point, I will not be president. Hopefully that'll be in 5 years from now, but I will not be president. And they're going to die. They're all going to die. Can you imagine if they had a cover, Sleepy Joe Biden? It won't be very much fun. At some point, I will not be president. Hopefully that'll be in 5 years from now, but I will not be president. And they're going to die. They're all going to die.
Trump is a master chess player. Imagine showing up to a funeral of one of the cabal members, a den of snakes, to shake hands with those who are involved in numerous conspiracies that include human trafficking, 9/11, election fixing, and numerous human sacrifices, and so on and so on. When all is said and done, the public will begin to realize that one of the biggest criminal investigations in American history is unfolding and connects with a larger global network of crime and conspiracy that boggles most of humanity, who will eventually find out there literally is a group of people who have been conspiring for generations to bring Earth under permanent satanic rule, and they have failed. As part of a master plan to save our nation and prevent the deep state from overthrowing our government, military tribunals will be held at Guantanamo Bay and several other undisclosed locations across the United States beginning in January of 2019. George Herbert Walker Bush, who was indicted on September 10, 2018, on charges of violations of the RICO Act and human trafficking, pled guilty and was quietly executed on November 30th. Although he was given assurances that his death would appear to have come due to natural causes in what he thought was a plea agreement, his crimes will be exposed in graphic detail at the tribunals of his family members and those of the entire deep state cabal. Many in both the mainstream and alternative media were shocked when Trump attended 41's funeral. What they did not know was Trump had a plan to expose the cabal in front of the entire world in what would be an international event, the funeral of an ex-president. And what a plan it was. Bold in concept, brilliant in execution. Because at Bush's funeral, deep state indictments were delivered in secret envelopes carefully placed into the funeral programs of those who would soon be facing trial for their heinous and treasonous acts. All of this was captured on video, as you can see for yourself. First, we notice that as Poppy Bush's casket is being wheeled by, a Secret Service agent appears to hand Laura Bush a piece of paper. Laura shows it to Jeb Bush, who suddenly turns ashen and appears to now be in shock. He has just learned of the indictments and that his father was executed for his crimes. Shortly after the guests are seated, Hillary Clinton opens her program. After Hillary Clinton opens her brochure, an envelope falls into her lap. Surprise, Hillary, you're headed to Gitmo. Former President Jimmy Carter, who was sitting to Clinton's left, can be seen looking over at her and then checking to see if he got an envelope too. He didn't, but several others did, including former Vice President Joe Biden and current Vice President Mike Pence. Now, it's no shock that Hillary and her husband were indicted. The list of crimes that the Clintons have committed are endless. All of the following information was given to us by our insiders, who have specific first-hand knowledge of the Hillary Clinton email scandal. It seems that things are heating up. Now, we're told that of the 662,871 emails lifted from Anthony Weiner's computer, 11,112 emails are Abedin's and pay-to-play, including Saudis and Israelis. Meaning, was the one Hillary used to communicate with foreign leaders via email for inside information and deals via Uma's computer. It's been established through many avenues, but mainly through WikiLeaks, that the Clinton Foundation was just a farce set up in order to perform pay-to-play games with multiple entities, including foreign nations. Pay-to-play nations include Israel, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Qatar, Kazakhstan, and the Ukraine. Furthermore, we're told by one of our insiders that one email unequivocally confirms ISIS was created by the CIA and the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service, with help from Joe Lieberman, the late John McCain, and Lindsey Graham. An NYPD insider said the content viewed did include State Department top-secret emails, and one file was called Life Insurance. A second file was titled DNC Nuclear Arsenal. A third file I'm sure Hillary definitely did not want released was a file labeled intimate. According to this NYPD insider, this file contained a video and X-rated photos of Uma and Hillary with a young girl. This video was known as FrazzleDrip. NYPD detectives were sickened by what they saw, according to our insider, and they had threatened the FBI field agents that they would leak this information if the FBI did not step up and take off the kid gloves. At that point, 13 of the FBI agents in New York City were also threatening to leak the information. Of course, as we have told you numerous times, a very credible reporter by the name of Liz Crokin has reported that 1/3 of the United States government is involved in pedophilia and child sex trafficking. As a result, Google, the parent company of YouTube, has censored and silenced reports of these revelations, and many alternative news videos have been shut down. This has not satisfied Congress. Google CEO Sundar Pichai was recently grilled by lawmakers before the House Judiciary Committee on Capitol Hill and was quizzed about videos that discuss Hillary Clinton sexually abusing and consuming the remains of children, often in satanic rituals, on YouTube. During his testimony, Pichai was asked why Google-owned YouTube has videos about FrazzleDrip, a theory that suggests Hillary Clinton and her staff drink the blood of young children during a satanic ritual and wear masks made of human skin. The FrazzleDrip conspiracy theory alleges that a video exists on the dark web of Clinton and her former aide Uma Abedin performing the said ritual, with alleged screenshots of the video making their way onto internet forums. YouTube videos about FrazzleDrip have been viewed millions of times, and during Pichai's questioning, Democrat Jamie Raskin jumped right in and asked if Pichai knew about the popular underground theory. In response, Mr. Pichai said that he was not aware of the specifics about it. Raskin followed up by claiming that YouTube's recommendation engine was highlighting videos about conspiracy theories that accuse Hillary Clinton of sexually abusing and consuming the remains of children, often in satanic rituals. FrazzleDrip is related to the Pizzagate conspiracy theory, which claims that the Clintons and other high-level politicians and Hollywood elites sexually abuse and kill children. The FrazzleDrip theory started after claims surfaced that a snuff video featuring Hillary Clinton exists on the dark web. Supposed stills from the video show Hillary Clinton and her former aide, Uma Abedin, supposedly lying on a table tennis table after allegedly harvesting the adrenaline glands from a child's body.
Where we go one, we go all. USA together forever, will never fall. Burn down all the bridges, save the children, build a wall. 45 is the leader, full attention, orders out. I'll take care of music, I'm a weapon to